Okay, something's not quite right there, and I wasn't supposed to run that video, so I don't know quite what happened there. Let's see whether or not the machine is behaving correctly. If not, I might need to stop it and give it a reboot. But let me know how it is. It seems to be keeping up all right, just looking at that stuff. Oh dear. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Here we are with the Canadian National Oakville Subdivision. If you can just let me know if audio and the game is coming through correctly, then we can get going. What was that video? That was the Battle for Sherman Hill video. Yeah, playing very badly. AV good. Okay, well hopefully the video from the game runs better than that video. I ought to delete that button so I don't do it accidentally again. Right, let us have a go at this. We're going to do the motoring. The first scenario first. Seems like a place to start. Maple leaf motoring. That was the phrase I was looking for. You say we should add harder scenarios, William, but you'd be surprised. Some of the scenarios that are in there at the moment, we get lots of people saying it's too hard. I don't know why. Is it the game is broken and they're not doing the scenario properly. So I would have urged to say that actually, for some people, the scenarios are hard enough, if not too hard. Hi British, how's it going? Right, so we get on board our train, which is a GP9RM, I believe. Right, insert the reverse handle, click, set the reverse to forwards, generate a field switch, put the freight cutout at freight, should see the brakes coming and getting set correctly. Right, set the automatic brake to release, that will let the brake equalising reservoir come up and the brake pipe come up. Right. So we're going that way. And we're going to go that way and that way. Always check your path before you set off. You'll find yourself having less problems. How come there isn't a zoom feature on Xbox? Mostly a lack of buttons. Everyone seen the new screenshots that came out for TSW2? If you haven't, go look for them. Put some lights on. Put some instrument lights on. We'll talk about Bakerloo when we get to the Q&A stream for Bakerloo, British Ace. I do like the 9RM. There's just something about the way that it looks, that it just looks really like everything's just been bolted on. There's nothing designed about that loco, or at least nothing obviously designed about that loco. It just looks like it grew up with things being bolted on the side of it to satisfy today's weird requirements. How long is the main spec button? I can't remember what its actual mileage is. Sort of 40 something miles maybe. You're not getting any in-game sounds? I am, which means you should be. Or are they just really quiet? How's that? Can hear me and a fan, but no game. Getting sounds now. Alright, I've just cracked all the volumes up. You enjoying the Class 20, Taylor? Awesome. There's a very short, sharp 1 in 50 gradient up here. Angela Jorozar, I am very good, thank you. How are you? British Ace, yeah, all still working from home. Samba, the Xbox, all the platform sales that are like for PlayStation and Xbox are managed by Microsoft and Sony, as far as I'm aware. So keep an eye up. There'll be sales on Xbox at some point. How do I feel about putting new trains on TSW? I don't know what you mean, Derek. I mean, I always want to see new trains in TSW. Always. Set the automatic brake handle to off. Oh, sorry, but automatic brake to handle off. We're changing ends, clearly. Do. No point throttling up just yet. The brakes haven't come off yet. Right, where are we going? Again, check your path before you set off. I'm going to drop those off there, okay? Do you need the COM button? No, COM button is for top and tail. If they're connected to one thing, if there's one block of locos, then they will talk to each other directly. You don't need COM for that. COM is essentially simulating having to talk to another engineer over the radio. So you'd be on the engineer with the radio telling them what you're doing so that they can mimic your actions. Again, we've got to just keep an eye out for this 1 in 50 grade. Hey, Lesser Unicorn. You're allowed to be late. You've got the word unicorn in your name, so you can get away with lots. If it was pink unicorn, you could get away with anything. Do you think it's possible to add Boston route to TSW? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yes, don't forget this is Canadian National Oakville Subdivision. We are driving a GP9RM at the moment. I'm very good, thank you, Angela. How are you? Yeah, I quite enjoy this route as well, Dallas. It's a different pace than the other routes because it's more about switching activities than driving from point A to point B. Oh, okay, we're carrying on. That were a waypoint. Alex, I'm assuming you mean Steam, and no, Steam is not announced yet. Yeah, the sun's shining on the other side. A bit brighter over here, isn't it? But there was a train in the way, so... Sophie, anything is possible. It just all takes time. What's my favourite route, Angela? I'm enjoying Hauptstrecke Rheinruhr in Germany. Combination of Lear and Peninsula Corridor in America, and probably between NTP and Tees Valley on for the UK. Alright, where are we going now? Let's watch the train. Is there a possibility of ice cream? Only if your name is not Moggy. Yes, absolutely. Is that a problem? Right. DRP ANC gonna get some DLCs next month. Suggestions? Well, post it up to the group. What do you like? What have you got? What sort of things do you like to do in the game? What kind of trains? What kind of gameplay? I'm sure we'll all have ideas for you. My favourite train to drive in TSW? Oh, I don't know. I might have to think about that. They're all good fun. Am I allowed to say that? 101 is probably one of my favourites to drive on T's and NTP because the gears make it interesting. Occurs to me, I'm coupling up to some cars. I should probably be getting ready for that. Right, let's go and get someone to go and stand back here and give me a hand, spot me in. What do I think of East Coastway? I like it. I like it a lot. But gameplay-wise, it's sort of not my favourite type of gameplay. But I do enjoy running East Coastway. And if modern EMUs is your thing, then yeah, it's perfect for that. Absolutely perfect. Right, we are now heading out of the railroad or the yard. We're now getting cleared to proceed out. Let's just set all our switches. Dum 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 dum. We'll change that one. Change that one. That's really interesting pathing. GG game. That gets us out that way, and that puts us into the automatic dispatcher. That's my preferred play style. I like things that are start-stop a lot more. I like older trains. I like smaller trains. So things like the 101 on the North Trans-Pennine are really good. The 166 actually on Great Western I enjoy still. Wait for the brakes to come off on the rest of the train. Tell you what, let's give it a full service and dispose of the brake pipe, and then release it back. Oh yeah, totally. Some people prefer modern trains, some people prefer a high-speed A to B run by train. That's it. That's what's great about trains though. There's all sorts of different gameplay. Actually, one of the things I like about Peninsula Corridor, when you've got the MP36, the MP15 as well, is there's just so much variety on Peninsula Corridor. So it doesn't matter what I fancy doing, whether it's an express run or a stopping run or some shunting or different types of trains. It's sort of got everything in there now. That's a really nice package, in my humble opinion. Right, so I think we'll test this in a minute. I think what we've got here is an example of the, pardon the expression, the anglecock bug. This is one of these things that we've been trying to reproduce for ages, and whenever we try and run it in the debugger, it doesn't work. So somewhere down here was where I coupled. And what you have to do is recouple it. And what I'm trying to find is a really good way of reproducing this bug so that developers can see it. I don't remember which one I coupled though. It's certainly the one that coupled that needs doing. Let's do another one. Okay, maybe I missed it. I went too far. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. I can hear air flowing. Yay, we're rolling. There you go. So if you find that you couple and it doesn't want to let you go, just re-uncouple it and couple it again. And we are still looking into it. Do I play Derail Valley? I have played Derail Valley, yes, and so I've not played it a lot lately. I looked at the recent update that came out, and it's very good. Remind me which one's the 769, Dion? I vaguely recognise the numbers, but I'm not entirely. There's so many new class numbers been introduced lately. It sounds like one of the ones that run up on the Great Eastern Main Line. I know the 755s are that. It's a 319 with a diesel engine. Oh, in that case, I'm aware of it, but no, I've not seen it. Hari Haran, so I don't think anything's been said about TS 2020 slowing down at all. It's still fully planned on being developed. Sorry, I originally read that question as TSW 2020, but no, TS 2020. There's still a lot of people playing that. Do I like big, long American freight trains? Sometimes I am just in the mood for a big, long American freight train. Absolutely. A slow, meandering run around a pass like Sandpatch Grade with a big train is what's needed. How long is the Oakville Subdivision, British Ace? It's not a massively long route end to end, because a lot of the complexity is in the yard area down here. You play TS 2020 for your steam train fix? Yep. Me too. And for all the other trains and routes that don't exist yet in TS World. Flashing green, we can do 140 now. Yeah, they tried. Don't forget the AWS. The artists tried to make older, disused tracks or lesser used tracks get weeded, because if they didn't have trains running over them a lot, then they would quickly get weeds on them. It's not like modern railways where they run up and down them spraying weed killer all the time. What's your favourite horn out of the entire two Sims? No idea. They've all got their ups and downs. There are too many horns to try and compare them in my head as well. Right, 10 miles to Burlington. Let's just flip cab and turn off these headlights. Don't need those. Ping off the generator field switch, don't need that. It's just reloaded the engine. What's your favourite train and do you enjoy driving it? Well, if it's my favourite, I would hope so. But the my favourite train in TS World is probably going to be something like the Class 101 because it is interesting to drive. Let's put it on full power. Oh, actually, no, it's 30 limit coming up. There's no point rushing. Is there a Roadrunner horn on the 182? Do you mean the distance that meter? Yeah, you bang the throttle lever a couple of times, and then after a little while it go beep beep. A cold start of this loco, JP. Yeah, the one that I always forget is to put this back into run mode. How do you switch cabs? Control minus, control plus. There isn't a way of doing that on console, unfortunately. Sneaky little question there, Megasim. Of course I think they're amazing. But it probably doesn't matter what I think about them. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. GP38, hanging around, waiting for brighter, sunnier weather, I guess. There's no plans at the moment to add Go services on this route, no. Welcome back, CSX guy. If we could create a new simulator for different transportation to train, bus and plane, what would it be? See, I want to do just all of the above. I want to do a train, a bus, plane, boats, everything, basically. Model the world and just let people drive vehicles. That's what I'd like to do. It's possibly a bit of a big project, though. Is there a way you can hide the interface on Xbox? Oh, you mean doing effectively that? Not on Xbox, no. Or connect to keyboard. Sorry, yes, you can connect to keyboard. Of course. Perfectly valid answer. For my PlayStation, I use just one of these things. Little Bluetooth keyboard, does the job nicely. Why isn't there an option in settings for it? Because a lot of the functions that are available on the keys were added at the last minute when it was much easier. Because the problem with adding things in settings is that then they need localization, which then means you need to make sure the localized versions of the strings fit on the screen. And actually adding an option in the settings is a lot harder than you'd expect it to be. And so these things were added as last minute options when they've just never been added then to the main thing. That's something that needs to happen, to be honest. Right, 7.2 miles. Actually, I will put a bit of power on just to try and balance the speed out. Never seen me do a stream of console. ZGB did some earlier on with the console, and on my own stream I've done plenty using my PlayStation because my PC died for about 2 months. So I basically streamed all the time with my console instead. No, I was thinking actually I could do a console stream on one of these sessions. My PlayStation's sitting right there. I can just power it up and use it. Green light. GP9, Vomit. GP9. I mean, you can't tell. Imagine TSW in VR. Yeah, it's awesome. How long is this route? I can't remember how long the main drag is, but then the rest of it is the yard area in the south, which sort of bulks up the mileage a bit. This Oakville subdivision is less about end-to-end driving and more about switching in the inside a yard. When you look at a new route, with main requirements, there's all sorts of things. How long it is, how complex it is, because it's not just how long. It's, a desert route is easier to make than a city route, so you can do more mileage potentially. What gameplay is there on it? It's pretty. The number one concern is what gameplay is there on it, because the most sought after route in the industry is great. If there's one thing to do on it and nothing else, then it's going to be a challengingly short interest in gameplay. So the challenge is to work out where the gameplay is and what other things you can do. Like, if you just add that yard or this siding, or whatever, then you add this extra bit to gameplay. Or, it's kind of, the gameplay is one of the most important aspects to that. I'm going to try plugging something in because I touched a wire. But I think we survived. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I know. That's what I want. Internal cameras now. External cameras. Front camera. That's better. Just got to remember how to use this now. Should be able to use the free camera. That's it. Bit of controller hype. So of course with the controller you can variably adjust your speed. What controller am I using? My Xbox 360 controller. Ah! My camera got run over. Alright, never mind. Let's forget that. I need more practice for that. .2 miles. I need to go via, so we're carrying on. I've still got my Steam controller somewhere as well. I must admit I don't really use it much anymore. It surprises me because I always thought it was a really cool controller. So an Xbox controller plugged into a PC. Yeah, that's all I'm using. It's just my... Okay, this was an Xbox controller for Windows, but it's no different to a normal one. I've got my Xbox One controller I use on my laptop. But yes, you can absolutely use a game controller from the consoles plugged into your PC, from the PC for Xbox and PS4. Why are you using a controller today? Because I thought it would be interesting to have a look at the remote. You know, I haven't played with it. I haven't played with the game controller for camera controls, and I thought it might be fun to do. But I need more practice. It's been ages since I've done it. I used to do all sorts of funky camera movements. Emergency maintenance has closed the route beyond Bayview Junction. You'll be diverted to Hamilton Yard until further notice. Chris, use an Xbox One controller with Bluetooth dongle on PC. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, my laptop's got Bluetooth obviously built in, whereas this PC doesn't, so I just use a wired controller. But on my laptop I use the wireless. My number boards aren't on. It's better. Thanks, Sherman. Right, there's Bayview Junction there. We're coming around to Hamilton Yard, which is here. Thank you, JS. Hope you love it when you get it. It's on the list of things that I want to do at some point, JS. Yeah, putting more detail on the 2D map. But no, there's nothing to confirm on that yet. But yeah, I know what you mean. A little bit of time until we drop down to the 15. Trainmaster, this is the GP9RM, correct? Yes. That's a weird old train. One tank car. Can you change the language on TSW? On Steam, you go into the properties for the game and you can change it to French, Italian, German, Spanish, Polish, Russian, and Chinese. And I believe the same is true on consoles, but I can't remember how you do it. Where are we going to? We're just taking these car transporters to Hamilton. I presume these are loaded, actually. Let's have a sneaky peek. Yep, they're loaded. You just have to wait for there to be a sale on Thelonious. Wait, I think there's a sale on. Do I have a GP9er in background for the green screen? No, I don't. I should take one, shouldn't I? Stop making me buy stuff. Don't want to. Just upgrading your driver. Just get behind the camera. There we go. Sort of like that. Now it looks like I'm driving the train, doesn't it? You'd never know. What do we got now? Yellow light, 30 limit, Hamilton approach. There you go. Sorted. Let's drop down for the 15. Looks like me, you can't tell the difference now. I couldn't. Right, we're swinging around the corner now. We're in the. I think this is all Bayview Junction, if I remember rightly. It's a big Y. This is quite a popular photography spot, actually. And that's where the other side rejoins, coming down here. You finally completed your collection of DLC in the sale, Deja Vu. You played all the Class 20 scenarios. Oh, nice. How are you finding the Class 20? Right, looks like we are crossing over here, hence the 15. Yes, 20 sounds amazing, doesn't it, Deja? Have you experienced the two different horns for on the front and back cabs? But there's also, in certain loco numbers, the nose-facing camera, the horn is modelled as a slightly faulty one, so it sounds different. Oh, I definitely want to see lots more, David. There's lots of stuff we can do. As always, folks, there's a bunch of you asking questions about TS World 2. Take your questions over to the Dovetail forums and post them there, and that way they can be looked at, and we'll try and answer as many as we can in the upcoming Q&A sessions. I don't think the next one's been announced yet, but I think it's not too far off now. Best German route in your opinion for variety? See, I like the Hauptstrecke Rheinruhr currently, because you've got Regional Express, which goes on the express lines. You've got S-Bahn trains, we're doing lots of stopping services. You've got the 45 regional Bahn services, again with different stopping patterns. There's two different routes it can go at one end of the line. There's an awful lot of different variety on that one. The other one I really like is the main Spessartbahn, because you've got freight as well as passenger, albeit one type of passenger. But you also got different operations with the freight, particularly with banking traffic, because there's a big steep hill on the Spessart ramp. So it means you've got different operations, getting used to getting the train safely up and down that hill. Obviously then you've got PZB, just to make it even more fun. And then you can add even more variety by changing the locos out, because coming down the hill with a freight train with a BR143 is a different experience to coming down with a BR185. Any news on the crash glitch on the NTP route? Not at the moment, no. When we have positive news, we'll say. Can't make up your mind what to purchase, the Class 20 or the MP15 DC. What do you prefer, American or English? Have you got the MP36? Would that finish your Peninsular Corridor collection? Mind you, the Class 20 would probably finish your T's collection, wouldn't it? Yeah, Graham, German routes, for me, what makes the German routes as interesting as they are is the signalling and the BZB. Cream or jam first on your scones? I've got no idea. Never thought about that hard, David. Hey, Chainsaw More 2, how's it going? Salazar, you really love the old British Rail 80s locos. Yeah, me too. Me too. Thanks, Thelonious. If you can just pass on the official answers, that'd be good. Put him in at class 20 and tell him to look out the front window because it looks like you're driving a steam engine. Right, set the reverser to neutral. Brake to handle off. What score are we going to get? Get gold? Yes, of course get gold. Oh, I didn't quite get level 5 on Oakville. Oh. Right, let's have a look at the scenario list. Done that one. Let's do... This is with the Jeep, isn't it? Let's do this one. This is with the GP38. When rail trains are mapped or modelled for games, does Dovetail have a local railway nearby? I'm not sure what you're asking, Chris. I mean, we go to wherever the train is to do the capturing of it. There are local railways near here. Kent and East Sussex, the Bluebell, and probably a couple of others, to be honest. Yeah, we just go to wherever the trains are. Can't pick and choose. Let's check the other end. Right. $20, I think, was GCR Crucible. You switched to neutral at 100 miles per hour. Whoops. Can we see me drive a pacer on stream soon, Samba? I would love to do that. I will mention it that people are asking for pacer hype. It was GCR, yeah. My favourite 80s loco? Not sure. Not sure, Salazar. Right, let's back this train up and go and pick us up some freight cars. Sorry, I think there's also a couple of locos at the front of that train as well. Train am I driving? I am currently driving a GP38-2 in Canadian National livery. Oh, hello. So yeah, my thing, Salazar, is I really don't have favourite trains. I find they each have their own charms. Even the Pacer. Controversial opinion, maybe. Simon Griffiths, absolutely. That's my name. Not Simon Griffiths, clearly, but... Coupled. Right, before we get going, let's just have a quick scoot down the other two and see what setup they've got. I know the lead two are set up correctly. That in trail, it's cut off. What I'll do is I'll pop it in there and pop it back. That's good. It's less about being hard to visit, Jake, because a lot of the stuff can just be done over the internet now. Some of it about complexity with licensing, but a lot of it is about there's an awful lot of work and knowledge in understanding how railways work in different countries, and you want them represented accurately, as do we. And suddenly going from being someone who knows very little about a particular country's railways to someone who can recreate the railways in all of their detail is a big journey. So there's an awful lot of work required, and learning required, and research required to actually get to that. That's not a reason not to do it, but it's why it's more difficult to do a different country. The team are skilled with these countries at the moment. Right. We roll in. We roll into a red light. Zeji, you don't have to do anything with those locos for them to work, but I'm fussy, so I like to go and check them and see if they're set up the way I want them set up. The way they're set up by default, those rear two locos won't contribute braking power. The way I've set them up now, they will contribute. So if I put the loco brakes on, then they will apply loco brakes as well. And the same if I apply train brake, they will apply train brakes as well. Whereas otherwise, they would pass through the brake pipe, but they wouldn't actually contribute braking, which isn't the end of the world at all. 2 extra locos applying braking is not going to change anything, but I'm fussy. Are routes 1-to-1 in terms of distance? Yes, they are, Irish Spud, yeah. What does Trail 24 do? So the difference between these numbers down here, so whether it's a 24, 26 or 26 or lead or dead, so if it's a Trail 6 or 26 or a Trail 24, that means that it is being controlled by a 26L brake stand or a 6L brake stand or a 24 brake stand, which is the type of brake stand in the loco. So it's what's the other loco got in it that's driving this one? I think something like that. And all the brake stands in Train Sim World are 26Ls, so you always want Trail 26. I think they are anyway. There or thereabouts. Exactly what that means, I'm not sure. I would need to ask somebody. But that's why it's set that way. Is there the option for the other one? It's there on the here to be this driven loco has the option to be controlled by a Trail 24, but none of the locos in the game have a 24 brake stand. This is a 26L brake stand. It's not a configurable thing. It's what the physical levers and pneumatics in the loco are set up for. How come we don't have zoom on the PS4 version? Mostly due to the lack of buttons. An SSD edition which comes with extra physical SSD. Have I visited any of the routes? What was my favourite? So I've never done any visits as part of the reference trips, but I live on the London Faversham line in Gillingham, which I like. I've been to the Somerset Railway. Where else have I been? Been to Brighton. I can't remember, to be honest. I can't use the mouse on console. I can't remember because mouse was only enabled relatively recently on console, certainly after TSW came out. And from what I gather, there is stuff that we have to do to make the mouse enabled. So I don't know exactly what that is. Got flash in yellow, which is an advanced approach. So I'm just taking the speed easy. Don't need to be rolling up too close to whatever's in front of me. Lots of locos on this. Too many for this train, but that's because we're taking 2 of them up the line to be used for other purposes. Oh, in fact, we've got 5 locos on this one. Have you ever considered making merch? I know it's one of the things that has been discussed in the past. I don't know where that discussion went to. Taking a diversion route here, by the looks of it. Do you plan on making more underground routes? If the question is, would I like to see more underground routes? Yes. The question, will the company make more underground routes? I can't answer that. The company lets you visit a train. Do they give you free travel? Sometimes, sometimes not. It varies. But cost of a train ticket isn't going to break anybody, so... Is it easier to make underground routes or overground routes? That is a really good question to put on the forum, actually, for when we do the Bakerloo Q&A. Because the answer is not quite what you might expect. Even taking into account it's a much shorter route. So yeah, stick that on the forum, and I'll cajole Sam into making sure it gets included. A route on bridges. But all that art for the bridge. Draw distances. No, even that's a problem, Crucible. Train Sim Kian, anything is possible in the fullness of time. If you've got things that you would like to see, make sure that you've made a post about them on the suggestions forum, on the official forums. No, the HSTs are good. The HSTs are good. I don't see more routes on Great Western, or trains on Great Western Express as well, actually. I quite like their route, even today. Coming into Aldershot Yard in about 2 miles. When can you go wombling for a year, really? Well, the Bakerloo line goes through Wimbledon. Does it? I think it does. Just, I'm not even remotely interested in doing derail collision physics, J. Cameron. It is not what the game is about. Oh no, Wembley is what I'm thinking of, isn't it? It's close. It's got W's, B's, and M's in it. I don't do words. Right, we're hauling up this road. Good. Into Aldershot and stop. Right. This is medieval. Fabdi was talking about Fraggle Rock. It's a different program entirely. You want Nebworth Simulator? You've already got that. What we're hauling? Manifest train. We're bringing some locos across up the line for other purposes as well. So there's dead power move as well. But we've got a short manifest train. Tankers, hoppers, and an auto rack. One auto rack. It's the engineer's car. Means I can get out the other end and drive home. .1 to Aldershot. Jamie Gaming Videos, this is TSW 2020. No, they've not got pink taxis in them, no, JP, absolutely not. This scenario actually lines up with, I believe, the next scenario where you're doing the shunting over here, the switching over here, and one of the locos dies, and you have to wait for this one to come in and drop something off for you to deal with. So we're doing half of it where you drop off and go, and then the other scenario is where you use the loco that came in. You're not thinking of TS World 2 chain gaming videos, in which case, no, that's not what this is. This came out last year. Half a mile. See, my headlight intensity is on, so I can't quite work out why my headlights aren't showing up on. Ah, you have to click the main switch, that's why. Obviously. Still got no ditch lights though. Ground lights, is that not what they are? No idea. Me too, Chain Sim Kian. Me too. One day. How much do you model each side of the track? So the model is created in different zones. So the track out to the fence is what we call the touchable zone. So out as far as the fence, because you can walk all the way up to that fence. So that's sort of that's modelled to the highest quality. And then it's different per route. There's a distance from the fence out to a point, which is called the near zone, which is stuff that you can see and should look good. And then you've got the far zone, which is generally out on the remote hills and things, which is just about filling in the back scene. Brakes on gently to come to a stop. Yes, it was Crucible. No, I didn't, SD Fab Diva. I got away with it. You're making an additional stop at Aldershot Yard to replace one of the switches which suffered a failure. Right, we're here. What are the red, green and white marker locus? They're called classification lights. And they're controlled by these switches down here. So for example, you can set that to green, and now you've now got a green light on. And they're not really used anymore. But they were used to indicate. So if you have a train going along the line, and it's a train E534, so for example, and it's delivering a weekly train load of coal. But this week they need a second train to deliver all the coal that is going to be shipped along. So what they'll do is they'll run it actually as two separate trains, but the first train, and they'll run one after the other. But the first train will set its classification lights up to say that I'm the lead train, which I think is green. It means that I'm the lead train. And there's one more, but there's more behind me. And then the one that comes up the rear, well, I think put the red one on, or sorry, the white one, to say I'm the last one of the set, so that the dispatcher, looking out the window, watching these multiple sets of trains coming through, knows, oh, okay, this is one train, but there's another E534 coming along behind it. Wait for that one to come along, see the lights on that one, and say, right, there's no more E534s, we're done with those for today. So that's what the classification lights were used for, but they don't really do that anymore. Partly because they can run trains that are long enough. Not that one. That one. Right, let us haul. TS versus TSW overall is a personal choice. I think I play this mostly because it's what I like TSW, but I still play TS because it has content TSW doesn't have. If TSW has the content that interests you, then why not play it? If it doesn't, then the opposite. Which has more content. TS has been around for over a decade now, whereas Train Sim World is comparatively newer. And also quite a lot more complicated set content for, because there's a lot more detailed. Right. Will TSW ever get as big as TS 2020? Who knows? I would hope so. But it's not going to happen overnight. Roll up and drop off this loco. The team have done some good work on the skies, Jay. Yeah, on TSW2. Yeah, they do look a lot better in all cases. Uncouple that, Loco. He gave the quads for you. The beans and now you're deaf. But in the best possible way, yeah? A fly buzzing around, it's driving me up the wall. Right, so we're pulling forward back into the Leeds yard siding, and then we'll couple back up to our train. I picked up a Logitech Z906, I think it is, sound system. It's a 5.1 thing. My word. I have to turn it down. Otherwise it shakes the room apart, especially for something like the Class 20. It's epic. Massive, great subwoofer under the desk. Hey, Daniel Dawson, how's it going? There's our train on the right. Jane Simkian, post your questions about TSW on the forum, please. That will be the place to get them answered properly. Right, now I need to set that switch back up to my train. There's a shadow. There it is. Always use the shadow side. Because then you can see where the other train is, because you can see the shadows coupling together. As long as you use the shadow here along with the shadow that appears as we get closer to that one, you can see when you're about to couple up the other one and slow down. See the shadow? So you see, as these two shadows come together, you know how close you are. If you want to have that head-out experience, staying in the cab when you're coupling up, that's basically how I do it. It's a pain when the sun's in the wrong place and there's no shadow, but... Right, and away we go off the line again. We got the light, we got the light. We are now routed out onto the main. There's no plans for that at the moment, CFTFC. But if there's stuff you want to see, make sure you go and post or contribute to the existing posts. In that case, on the Dovetail suggestions forum. See you later, DRP. Afternoon, CP Virtual. Slight downgrade at the moment. Chris, do I need to summon Jill? Do I need to summon Jill, Chris? It's a good night, not good evening, is it? It's only 6:30. Good evening I'll go for. Oh, we've got a green light up ahead, which means we can actually accelerate now. Let's not snap the brake couplings, it's quite a way. Oh, ow. Yeah, I went all the way to Oakville. What was Sam doing yesterday? He was on North Trans-Pennine, wasn't he? Yeah. What was he driving? I didn't see the stream. What was he driving? .101. Yeah, Sam likes the 101. Clearly a man of discerning taste. For me it's the 101 or the 40. The Whistler, double-headed, 18 TEA tankers, heading up to the Stanage Tunnel. Now that's a train. Oh, Sam doesn't have the Favorite Freight Pack. Oh, we need to get that fixed. That's just out of order. Yes, Control F12 takes a screenshot without the HUD. Even better than that, if you go into the settings, Chris, there is a setting which says whether your screenshots are normal quality or high quality or something. Normal quality will take a 1080p screenshot. High quality takes a 4K screenshot, regardless of what resolution you're running the game in. I'm feeling comfortable with my speed. I don't need to go any faster. I should put some power on to maintain it at least. That was Appleby. Can we get them crossing if I pick this point? No. Failed. I like to try and pick a point and think, guess where they'll cross. It leads to some of the most disappointing screenshots ever. Railroad crossing hype. Oh! Fantastic! Look at that! Could not plan it better. Seriously, could not plan it better. Have tried. Can't do it. Is that going the right way? Nope. Where's another good place? About here in the pipes. Next is a go via to Bronte. That wasn't too terrible. There's been a lot of requests about the pause stuff, even from the internal teams, PC Bagnall. So, something I'd like to get in there at some point. But there are complexities with that, because Unreal doesn't kind of like that. Because you're kind of saying, pause the game, but don't. Hey, look, it's our tanker. Oh, what looks interesting? Down here, in amongst the track. Roy Fonseca, no, I'm not in a cab. I've just got very clever green screen set up to fake it. Right, let's get the speed dropping down. Speed is bleeding off nicely. Come on, we'll do it properly this time. We want to go about here, I think. Come on, be satisfying. Don't be weak, be satisfying. No! Oh. I forgot I put the brakes on, so of course my train wasn't travelling at the same speed. Tanks for the memories. Finding an interesting level of AI trains, Jay, is really challenging. Because if you put it realistic, most of the time it looks dead, and there'll be just you on it. And then, of course, the feedback is, where's the AI? But if you then beef it up to make it more interesting game as an experience, it's necessarily going to be a bit fictional in terms of that. But I think that's fine. It keeps it interesting. Us train enthusiasts are here for the trains, not the grass. Well, I am anyway. The grass is interesting, but the trains are why we're here. Right, 30 limit any minute now. Hey, Marco. Tallbridge. That was a place from the North Trans-Pennine. The Storley Bridge. No. Never mind. This is a GP38-2, Matthew. This is Oakville. Yeah, I quite often use this view because you get a nice view of everything that's going on, but I'm also, you know, I can still see what's going on in the controls nicely. $16 Mile Creek Bridge. Nice. Right, let's check our path because we're going to be crossing into the yard and make sure that our junctions are all set. I suspect they will be. They are. Nest and Loft is a good option, Chris, actually, yeah. So let's drop down to the 15. How many hours of modelling to get a loco with the details for TSW? I don't know the exact number for that, but it's a lot. The team spend a lot of time working on the locomotives. And a lot more importantly, on the coaches and the freight cars. A lot more goes into those than used to be, because there's a lot more detail. You can get in and walk around them now. That's the other thing with a loco like this, because I can stand up and I can go and see it from every angle. You can't not model a bunch of stuff. You'll find some locos in TS1 where effectively the camera's limited and you can only sort of turn from there to there. What that means is that none of this has probably even been modelled. A 153, I would love to see a 153 in the game, Real Motivation. I'm fascinated by them, but there's no plans for it at the moment. If there's something you want to see, then make sure there's a suggestion, including what route you'd want to see it on the Dovetail forums. Right, this is our stop. Let's put the marker back on so we can see where we're stopping. What does it take to translate TSW to another language? It depends whether you're talking about the core game or all of the DLC. It's probably about, I think, 10,000 words per route, 5,000 words per loco pack. Core game is probably about 20,000 words, maybe more. It's basically just going through each string in a file and putting the translated version of it in. The challenge there is working out some of the colloquialisms, some of the the puns and things which make sense in English, or the phrases used, the local railway phrases which make sense in English but don't make sense in German. When you do a translation, it just seems like a really weird phrase. Tell me where to go then. Be rude, don't be rude about it. It's on the other side. No, I've got to get out this way anyway, you dipstick. Like, give the Bobby a call, yeah. Or even something simple like driving the Jeep, which, if you don't know, if a translator isn't aware that Jeep is the nickname for a GP locomotive, then they might translate it to be, a small a brand of 4x4 vehicle. Walking all over, trip over, hurt myself on the. Boom. Gold medal. Come on, give me that gold. Yes. Let's go Oracle 5. And... yes, 117. Or a doctor, yeah. Fantastic. Alright, folks, that's it from me for this evening. I hope you enjoyed. I think the next stream is on Monday. There's no stream tomorrow. We'll see you there. Alright, folks, take care. Have a great rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.